It's into Wales. Wales through a goal. Slots it beyond Foderingham. And the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Doffin. He can hit them. And he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello everybody, welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and for the final time in this horrible season, it's a preview show. We've got one more game to talk about, and then we can say goodbye to this 23-24 disaster that is the Rotherham United Championship season. We will talk about the Cardiff game and all that is related to it. I'm sure it'll be many people's final game, but we'll talk about one in particular. I think you guess who it is, bearing in mind to do the tyre. And we'll go from there. Mick, how are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you. All good. Looking forward to getting this over and done with.
The season or the podcast?
Well, both really, but season. yeah.
And Danny's back. How's it going, Danny?
Doing all right, chaps. For anyone watching, if you're wondering why I've not got my camera on, hiding Exmouth badge, not on camera, but I'm still here in spirit, so that'll have to do.
Here in spirit and voice, most importantly.
Yes, I am the voice of apparently.
It's better to have no video and audio than video and no audio, so we've got you the right way around.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be like a weird mime act, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Loads of people. There's Martin Holland, Michael Carnell, Dave Lawton, Palmard, Damien Carwood, Terry Femby, Paul Rose, loads of people with us. Richard says, evening all, mine's a pint. Cheers, Victor. The coverage, Steve Grundy. Palmard says, I wonder if Mick does warm-up rants in front of the mirror. Are they warm-up speaks, or is it just like a natural?
It just comes naturally, mate. It's spontaneous. It just happens. I don't need to practice it. I've done it for years, so it's just natural.
Yeah. Fair. And Tobias is with us. Good evening, Tobias, all the way from probably sunny Stockholm today. Yeah. We may as well start there because I'll be honest with you, previewing this game, there's not going to be much to talk about. So let's start with the Johanssons. I put the tweet out today, Mick. Just when you thought you couldn't love Victor Johansson anymore, he goes and buys beer for 600 Rotherham fans or whatever it's going to be. What a guy! What a guy!
I don't know what to say. It just gets better and better, doesn't it? So it's going to be a sad day on Saturday for a lot of us, I think. Well, no, it's not, is it? No, it's not going to be sad. We all suspect it's going to be his last game for us, unless Big Steve can work his magic, then it will be so. And I think he deserves a massive send off. But what he's done by doing this is just it kind of puts a cherry on the cake, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Nick says, Tobias, please get him to stay. We love him and he loves the club. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, I don't know about that one. So if anybody's missed this, and I don't know if you've missed this, I don't know where you've been. Victor's paid for put money behind the bar at the Cutlers, so there's 600 or so pints or beers or whatever to be drank on Saturday not on behalf of, I suppose, as given by Victor. Danny, it's the first time I've ever known something like this from a player at our club. I've seen it occasionally happen at other clubs. But that normally comes from, Leicester have done it a few times where the board and the owners have put the money in. You'd never see players just doing this kind of thing. It's as unique as Victor is, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Like I say, you've sort of seen Leicester do it. I think Wigan did something where they paid for the away fans' travel, and that was like, but again, that was at board level. You don't really see players do this sort of give back to the fans, shall we say? Just because it sort of just become the more modern footballer thing where you know, they go and play the football. They have a little bit of fan interaction, you know, through charity events or on a match day, or just like little meet and greets. But they don't really go out of the way too much to really show their appreciation for fans of a football club. But I think this gesture from Victor also encapsulates him as a person. It shows that how thankful but also humbled he is by the support Rotherham fans have given him. And, you know, Tobias has been in the Cutlers. He was behind the bar pulling a pint last time he was in England.
Badly, by the way. We should add that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was allowed to be there, yeah. But that's Victor's way of saying thank you. You know, but I'd like to stress what Kev Johnson put out on Twitter. It's not an official goodbye gesture. It's a thank you for your support gesture. So we'll take that with a pinch of salt and we'll wait and see. But for a player to do something like this, it's 600 pints.
I think it's about 600. They said, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. That's a lot of pennies to be put behind the bar. So I think for every one of those 600 Rotherham fans who gets a pint, and for anybody else who supports Victor, we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate everything that he's done, and we love him all the more for it.
Yeah, we do. I feel like I don't know if this kind of makes sense, but Victor falls into that category of they don't make him like him anymore. It feels like a bit of a throwback player, of one that just, and that's not necessarily a dig at modern footballers, because I'm sure they do. We you know, Dan Barlaser and people like that, they get the club, they do love the club, but Victor just seems like if he was in the 90s, he'd kind of fit into that kind of thing. He seems closer to the fans than the modern footballer. And I think that's probably because he's a fan. You know, he's a big Hammarby fan growing up, and he gets the sort of kind of fan culture a lot of it. He just seems different, and I just love it.
Yeah, it's a different culture, I guess. In Sweden, where it comes from, football is as important, if not more important, than it is to support us here. And yeah, like you say, he's grown up with it. He's absolutely grown up with it, and first and foremost, he is a supporter. A lot of professional footballers are probably not now. You know, they're not supporters. They don't tend to have that same sort of passion for their home club. So, and obviously, people like Victor, and there are other players like recognise how important the club is to the supporters, to the town, to the community itself. So, you know, it's nice, it's lovely, it's a beautiful thing that that people can stay in touch, if that makes sense, with what they're grown up with. As a professional footballer, you know, you are in the spotlight, and Lord only knows how easy it must be to kind of just lose touch with what's happening outside in the real world. It's got to be, hasn't it? You know, you're in a bit of a cocoon, aren't you? So it's like you said, like everybody said, you know, we could go on all night. It's a measure of the man. He's a top lad. So, and we've got to be happy that he's committed 3 or 4 years of his very short career to our club. So, yeah,
absolutely. If Phil Sierra player deserves to go to the top, Victor does. Cheryl Sones, she thinks that by him buying the beers just cements that he's leaving. Terry Femi says they showed the calibre of the man who we will never forget. Paula Rhodes says we've not seen it much this year, but we'll miss the Victor goal celebrations. Yeah. Nick says to pay him whatever he wants, even though he totally deserves it. Even though he totally deserves to play as high as possible. Michael Carnell and Ruth were saying, Victor, what a guy. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, I don't know if anybody hasn't got a Sweden flag, go get yourself a Sweden flag. Let's deck it out in New York Stadium as best we can in Victor's colours as well. Because I imagine, Danny, knowing him as little as we do and as little as fans as we do, I imagine it'd be quite an emotional day for him as well, because he really has taken this club to his heart and to his family as well. If it has... We're all treating this as his final here. If he's here first game of last season, next season, that's a bonus. But I suspect it'll be quite an emotional day when the final whistle goes for Victor.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, technically he's still our player for another year, but like you say, it could very well be his last game. The writing's on the wall that another big team's going to come in and further his career. So I think that will be emotional because that will be on his mind. You know, that he's been with us for 4 years, and that could be the last game. It might not even be a game that he starts potentially. We'll have to see what happens.
We better start.
Yeah, I prefer him to start. But yeah, I think it'll be just an emotional day all round. You know, last game before officially the season ends and we're relegated. Last game potentially for Victor and potential goodbye for the fans. There's going to be a lot of quivering lips, I think, in New York Stadium.
Yes, there absolutely will. Harry says, imagine after the game he does a speech and announces he signs a 5-year deal. Yeah, like that. Jamie says we asked where we would see him going, and Jamie says he's going to be spraying his hair yellow with blue face paint. He'll be there.
Brilliant.
Big fan. Mick, I know you're going to wear a flag as a cape, but blue face paint. Yeah, I mean you've got no hair, obviously, but we could do a design if you wanted to.
I'd look like that Blue Man Group, wouldn't I? No, I mean that's not happening. But I mean, you know, I love him to bits, but I'm not painting my face.
You're just going to turn up in the hem of his shirt, and
I'm going in the hem of his shirt. Yes, hopefully I'll manage to get in the Cutlers. So they realise it's not a Cardiff shirt, but yeah, I should be wearing the hem of his shirt.
Just because you know we're not playing Millwall, otherwise they definitely won't let
you.
Yeah,
obviously. If we'd been playing Millwall, I might not have bothered.
Danny, you've got a Sweden shirt you're going to be wearing, aren't you?
Yeah, Sweden. I don't know what year it is, but yeah, I've got a Sweden home shirt. I'm still on the hunt for that Sweden flag, and I'll pull a Mick and wear that as a cape as well, potentially.
Oh, yeah, got you. Sorry, took me a minute then, Danny. Got you. I'm with you. Yeah.
But no,
Amazon
I'll the Sweden colours,
Amazon Prime. If you order it now, everybody, you'll get it delivered tomorrow. Get Amazon. We're not sponsored by them, obviously. Or if you want to get in touch. But yeah, you'll get it delivered next day delivery. Get your flags. Polo Road's got my flag and a Sweden football scarf. Now we're talking. There you go.
There we go.
Get it decked out. It'd be brilliant.
I reckon just a big tribute to Victor. We should have a yellow and dark blue away kit next season.
We should. We won't, but we should.
Yeah.
Emma Woods says Victor will start. Steve Evans will sub him near the end of the match. That'd be interesting. We'll take that. Michael Carnell. Danny says, Danny go into the market. They might have one. There you go.
Essentially.
Nick says, I don't mind if he goes to Sheffield United or Leeds, etc. That's a decent place. please, just don't go to Wednesday.
Yep, anywhere but Wednesday.
I would bet a lot that he will not go to Sheffield Wednesday for many reasons. Number one being that he knows. Let's speculate, Mick, because again, it's better than talking about the Cardiff game. To be honest with you, where's Victor? Where do you think if you had to put your five in there? Steve Evans said there's 8 or 10 top championship clubs that are interested. So in the week, Everton and Wolves were named as potential destinations. Paul Davis reporting that there's potential of European interest. Is there any of those? Any teams that make more sense? If you put yourself in Victor's shoes, what makes sense to you?
It depends on his personal circumstances, doesn't it? I mean, none of us can get away from the fact that he's going to be a dad soon.
Yeah.
Within weeks. So, possibly I don't know the situation at the moment, but maybe even within days. Yeah. So, he's got that to consider. So, I mean, ideally, from a very selfish point of view, I'd like him to just pop down the road to Sheffield United, because then obviously it'd still be local and we'd still see Tobias and company when they come over to watch him play. However, I suspect he might end up in Europe somewhere. Wherever he goes, I would argue he would need to be number one keeper, which may be difficult if he went to a Premier League club. I know the Everton rumour has been around for a while, hasn't it? I think because of the financial fair play, Jordan Pickford may be on his way out, so they can try and balance the books.
Yeah, for FFP, yeah.
So that might make sense. But if I was going to put any money on it, I would say it will end up being somewhere in Europe potentially. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Danny, he's only 25, so the goalkeeper, that's still basically early in his career. Would it be the end of the world? You look at Sweden's number one, who's currently second or third choice at Aston Villa. Would it be the end of the world if Victor goes as a year behind Jordan Pickford at Everton, and then again moves on from there and builds his career? And Everton are going to pay more than Sheffield United, for example. So from a financial point of view and a career from that point of view, he's set. But then he's not number one necessarily. Which should be a bit, wouldn't be a step down because Everton, for example. But what do you think?
I think it depends on how much Victor would want to play. To be honest, like you say, in terms of forwarding his career a year behind Jordan Pickford's, it isn't exactly bad, is it? Because you're still in and around that environment. But if Victor wants to play week in, week out, and just be a number one goalkeeper, then the prospect of Sheffield United who will be at the right end of the Championship next season would be more of a bit more appealing to him, because he can still play and do his job and still stay local due to personal things. But so it just depends on how much he wants to play. How many appearances does he want under his belt, and how much experience does he want to get? Does he want top end Championship with an actual decent defence in front of him, or does he want to be understudy for a year and learn from somewhere at the top? That's the decision for Victor to make. I personally think he'll go somewhere where he's guaranteed at least 30 appearances in a season.
Fair enough. Chris Page says Malmo is a good shout. League titles in Euro football. I don't know how Hammarby feel about Malmo. I suspect not well, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
That's the question. Bias. Would he mind Victor playing for Malmo?
I don't think I'd go down very well. Again, I might be wrong, but I'm not convinced that I'd be the best place. Nick asks, how does it work, Matt, with clauses? Can there be a bidding war, or as long as all the club, or as they are all offer the clause, they fight out with personal terms? Yeah, so let's say it's £1 million. Anybody who bids £1 million automatically can then talk to Victor about personal terms. There's no bidding wars. It is what it is. That's the figure. That's what the club agreed to. That's what Victor agreed to, and his agent agreed to. I don't know, Mick. Look, it's not good because we're losing a guy for, he's worth 5 times that, at least 5 times that. But at the same time, if we didn't agree to that, we'd have lost him for free last summer, like we did with Chio and like we do with other players. So we've got an extra 18 months out of him. Yeah, we've undersold him, but we're getting £1 million more than we would have done had he not signed the contract.
Exactly that. And there's lots of us would love to see him stay on for another year, but then in 12 months' time we're going to be having the argument about why we didn't sell him, why we didn't let him go for whatever the buyout clause is, and we let him go for nothing. So you're between a rock and a hard place, to be perfectly honest. So it goes without blessing. He signed that contract. He signed a new deal with us when a lot of players wouldn't have done. They would have gone, and they would have gone on a free. It depends what options we've got as to whether or not we can put some other clauses within that, sell-on clauses, etc., etc.
I think it's really unlikely. I don't know the ins and outs, but it's normally release clauses are just what they are. Yeah.
Look, it's not ideal, but unfortunately, it's got to be done. So we'll get a decent wage for him by our standards. So.
The other thing you potentially do is sell for less than the value. So let's say his thing's £1 million. If you can say to somebody, right, we'll sell for 750k, but we'd like 20% add-on. It then maybe becomes we can accept less now, but take more in 5 years' time, whatever it might be. There's
going to be lots of options potentially for some negotiation, so let's see what happens.
There is also an unlikely third option where we put a very lucrative new year contract in front of Victor, where we, just get a higher release clause in there, and then still let him go this summer, but then we just get more money for it. That might be a bit of crude business, but we're not really known for that. So unlikely third option.
Yeah. I love the optimism that you think he might be here on it. I don't know what to bet, but I bet you anything that he won't be here on day one next year.
No.
Emmy Wood says Hammarby would be a dream job. Yeah, it would. If the Swedish League had money, then he'd go to Hammarby probably. And he will. Hopefully, if him he ends up there one day. John Morel, the positive with these clauses that the fee will be 100% up front on all in one go. Yes, for example, the Ben Wiles deal last year was around $1 million. You don't get all that in one go. You'll get £1 million in summer or whatever it might be for Victor. So again, there are positives, a lot of negatives, but there are positives to it as well. Let's see what happens. It's going to be the only thing that's worth mentioning probably from Saturday will be Victor, to be honest with you. He's got to start. He's just got to play, Mick, hasn't he? Just got to.
I mean, hugely disappointed if he doesn't. Massively disappointed. It's more important than for us as supporters, given what's happened, given what's been said, during the course of this podcast, and what everybody's been saying for the past few weeks. If for him not to start on Saturday would be an absolute travesty. But we'll have to wait and see what Steve Evans decides he's going to do. I can't see him not starting. I just can't see that.
No, I can't. I mean, this was a good thing is, Danny, and this is something we actually found with Richard Wood last year. It's not often you get to say goodbye to a legend of your club. I think back to Lee Frecklington, who just kind of disappeared halfway through a season because the deal was done. Many other players that we've lost, Dan Barlas, even he just went again partway through January. There's never that kind of goodbye and closure. So it's going to be sad, but it's good that we get this day and this moment really to kind of end it really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even with managers, even if they are club legends, like Ronnie Moore, for example, and even Steve Evans the first time, you never got to say goodbye to them. Even Paul Owens to an extent, because they just got pinched during a season or were sacked during a season. But yeah, like I say, with Richard Wood, last game last season, we actually got to say goodbye to Woody. We'll probably get to do the same with Victor if he starts. Fingers crossed, because I'm with Mick. If he doesn't start, Evans out, in my opinion. But you mentioned Frex. He left. Was it Lincoln in January?
Yeah, it's left in January. That was really unexpected as well.
Yeah, Chio left with the prospect of signing a new deal, so we were all a bit optimistic, and then nothing happened. Like I said,
Smith and Nicky buggered off without again.
As well, that was drawn out far longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
Even Matt Crooks as well. He seemed to shuffle off quietly to Middlesbrough, didn't he?
COVID won it though, but the season before it left.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, being able to say goodbye to Victor in some regards on Saturday, like I say, it'll be sad and emotional, but in the long run, I think we'll all appreciate that we actually got to do that, because even when we had Joy on the podcast, we said Victor's easily top 5 goalkeepers in Rotherham's 99-year history. That's some achievement, I think, of however many goalkeepers we've had, which must be in the hundreds. Victor's top 5 minimum.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, Victor hasn't left yet, and when Victor does go, we'll be going through all this again. We'll be talking about all this again, and then once he's left, we can officially go through how he rates and how where he stands. We will talk about the game in a moment. I just want to address the predictions league that we've been doing this season.
Oh no,
I haven't been. I did it last week. I thought I've not done it for a couple of months. I thought I'll get all the information together, and I'll have a look, see if it's worth putting out. And it's not worth putting out because I do the table, and I thought putting my stats out where I was 21 points ahead of anybody else felt a bit, cheering myself on. The question is, Mick, and I'm sorry to bring this on to you. I'm not sorry. You have 6 points from 44 predictions. You're averaging 0.02 points per prediction.
It's good, that.
That's interesting. So my question is to the listeners and to anybody else is, what do you think could beat Mick in the predictions league for next season? So I don't want necessarily anybody coming in just give it. I want to know what can beat Mick that's useless.
My fridge could beat me.
I don't know how your fridge would predict something.
Oh, it's got numbers on it when you open the door. I'll just use them.
That's temperature.
Yeah, whatever.
I would probably be better than you, to be fair.
I'll use freezer because that's a minus number, so we'll be fine.
Probably the cold patient.
Yeah.
I've got one. Do you remember the octopus that was predicting results in
the octopus could
10 Worlds? Yeah. Get that octopus back. I mean, I think it's dead now. But
I think it might be dead. Yeah, it'd be difficult to get him back now. So yeah. Richard says just anybody. Yeah. Tony Wood says the UK Eurovision score would beat Mick. I mean, I don't know about that.
Oh, that's harsh, Tony. That.
If you go on the points per prediction, Joy would finish second on that table. Danny,
just read them out. You want to read it all out now, Matt? Just put it all to shame.
Yeah, well, so I got 30 points, which is 0.68. Joy's on 0.66. I've done per game per prediction because Joy's only done, for example, 6 predictions and Kev's only done 3, so we've done it like that. Mick's on 0.02. Danny, you're the same as Kev on 0.33 points. And Tom on 0.13. So Tom's not any better.
Am I joint third?
You are joint third out of 6.
That's a steady mid-table. I'm Bristol City. I'm happy with that.
Bang average.
Yeah. John Morell says if Blues come down, then John and Mick can have a weekly prediction league on their own, given John knows nothing about it. We could do that. We will do more. We'll do more better prediction league. We'll get kind of predictions from Kevin, Joy, and everybody else weekly next year, and then we'll see who really is rubbish. And like I said, anybody can suggest something else that could beat Mick, which is not hard. Do that. Somebody want to just go through. We've done the survey this week. So before we come into the Cardiff game, I just want to run through some points from that because I did.
Shall I leave now?
Mick is both loved and hated according to everybody that's filled in the survey. I didn't count how many people said they didn't like Mick rants, but 10% of all people love Mick rants, and that's just people that bothered mentioning it. Mick. We had a few people mentioning Danny needs to drink better beer. I'm pretty sure it was John Morell, to be honest with you, Danny.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to keep the people are happy with the sort of number of shows that we do this season, which is really, I'm really happy to see that people are happy with that. People want us to be more succinct with the answers, which we will try and do. I say that it's not me that's particularly long with my answers. Mick, Danny, Tom. So do that. People mentioned we'll try and get some ex-players on. We've fallen off with that a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't know whether it's felt like it's been a busy season or not. We will try our best to get some ex-players on. We do occasionally try to get somebody can fall on deaf ears at times. But we will continue to do what we can for that. There's people asking for places to submit questions, and I've thought about this, so I'm going to look in the summer, see if there's like a website where we can get set up where you can send questions in rather than emailing us or direct messages, that we can kind of put a link where you can send questions to us, which would be helpful. Nick says to get Victor on. We can try. You know what I mean? I don't know.
We'll try and be in the press conference at his new club, like his first press conference.
I'm going to go like this. I'm going to be Sweden shirt and Sweden flag, just at press conference where they announce him Everton or wherever he goes, or Dusseldorf or whatever. We've had 90% of the people said they wanted more people on the show, more fans' voices on the show. So next season we are going to look at doing like a phone-in show, maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, where you can join this stream and then you can give us your opinions and things such as that. The idea is we'll be live, which should be fun. Yeah. But we've got to work out the format for that. But it was something we were thinking about a while. This is why we did the WhatsApp thing a few weeks ago to get a few more fan voices. But again, it's not necessarily something everybody uses. but we will try and do that as well. Somebody mentioned live watch-alongs. That's something we'll certainly look at for next season. I know Tom suggested that's something he could do a bit more of, especially with the Sky games next year. With a lot more being moved, that is something we'll look at. We did that a lot in COVID, didn't we, Mick?
Yes, we did.
Me and Lee.
We did, and with the Euros coming up in the summer, that's obviously a potential for that as well. Have a look at that potentially. Yeah.
So we mentioned should get more women on the show, or maybe women from the Rotherham United women's team. We thought this about a couple of years ago, again, that we're doing more stuff on the Rotherham women's show. I'll be honest with you, our time is so tight that we've not been to many games at all. What I would say is, if anybody is a regular attender of the Rotherham United women's team and you're interested in doing a podcast on it, get in touch with us and we'll do everything we can to support and create that show to shine a light on Rotherham United women's team, who are having a they're in the cup final, or plate final, I think it's called, in a couple of weeks, and they've got the game at New York Stadium in a few weeks as well. So if that is something that somebody has time for, because I know a lot of us don't have time for it, then please do get in touch, and like I said, we'll support, we'll help wherever we can, because we want to do it, but life, work, family, kids, 4 shows a week doing this. I do like my kids most of the time, so I want to see them a little bit. Get in touch with that, and any other ideas you think we want as well. We're always open to ideas and improving the show as best we can. Dom Drom, who says on here, great show, let's keep doing what we're doing. I should shout out to Joy and Dom as well for doing the covers for every single program this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a terrible season on the pitch for the football club, but some of the stuff that they've done off the pitch, like that, and other stuff for the music and everything else, that's gone up a level for me this year. That kind of off-field stuff has been brilliant from the club. So hats off to them. John Morell says, Mick, watch along, Christ. There is enough shows with gumpy old men on TV these days. We know a couple of them already.
Cheers, John.
Harry says, Matt, that shirt in the background better not be the one being sold for 150 quid. No, this one's not 150 quid. I'll accept 130 if anybody wants to. So yeah, there we go. Anything else you've seen, boys, that I've mentioned on the survey or us going forward that you want to mention, bring up, talk about? Again, I'm really avoiding talking about this Cardiff game, to be honest, at this point. Anything, Danny?
I just want to say, check out Dom Drury Miller's website, because he's got some amazing prints that he's done of Victor on there. So before he goes, buy some of those so we can remember him in a Rotherham shirt. And it's got Steve Evans ones as well, which absolutely look hilarious and brilliant. So check out his website.
Absolutely. I will give a shout out. This survey was anonymous, but I'll give a shout out to the person when asked what is the one thing that you really enjoyed about the show. They put the end.
Yes.
Thank you, whoever you are. That tickled me, that one. So thank you very much. Which says awful season, but the podcast puts a smile on our face. We try to make a bit of therapy, and happily. Right. What else have I got written down? Let's talk about the Cardiff game, Mick. It's a really dull encounter. I mean, if nobody turned up on Saturday, I think we'd all be all right with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Or you're looking forward to it. Is it something else again to look at? You can build on for next season under Evans.
No, it's not, is it?
Cool.
I mean, let's be fair. I mean, you can try and dress it up if you want as something that that we can. It's a start of next season, and we can. Yeah, but it's not, is it? I mean, let's be fair. There's a massive break. It's just forget that. It's the last game of the season. It's been a dreadful season, but let's go out with a bang. Let's enjoy it. Have a good time. Cardiff will bring quite a few up. They always do. They'll moan if it rains. If it doesn't, to be fair, with a lot of the Cardiff supporters are pretty decent people, so it'll be a laugh. It'll be a good day out for most of us. And that's all it's going to be, isn't it? There's from a footballing point of view, there's little, if any, interest in it whatsoever. I'm sorry, but they're in. Not for me anyway.
No,
it doesn't matter who wins. It's just irrelevant. I don't think you're going to see anything that's going to benefit us next season at all.
No, I agree. Nick asked if Kluka's injured. He was happy to re-sign. and would like him to, but maybe Evans doesn't. Yeah, he's fallen off the radar a little bit, and I wonder if he was playing through an injury, but then he came off at Swansea, didn't he? With an injury, so it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one. Ross Edwards says, did anybody watch the Bristol City podcast? They said no Rotherham player could get in the Rotherham lineup. It's how bad we were last week. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, there's no players back. He said Morrison and Fergie might be available. When somebody says might be, Danny, it probably means bench anyway. So we're not learning about anything new players and things like that. It just feels difficult and pointless. More than normal. We've had pointless games before, haven't we? End of season. This just feels sort of more so.
Yeah. I mean, Kyoto might have a chance of being back as well, from what Evan said in the interview. I've seen Fergie training in the club pictures. But like you say, it's probably the last chance of some players, excuse me, to give Steve Evans a reason to consider them staying. But he said that his mind's made up on a lot of people going forward, which sounds a bit ominous, to be honest. But he's also said that the retain list is not going to take forever to come out. It should be out Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, which is brilliant. So that's our Thursday show sorted, innit? React to the retain list. Thanks, Steve. But yeah, like I say, it just seems like a pointless game. I mean, the end of last season, it was pointless against Wigan because they were already down and we were already safe. But it was a party atmosphere because we were safe already. And with this home game, it's not really a party atmosphere for us going back to League One. It's just more of a, let's get it over and done with. It just feels like it's a game for Victor, and that's it. On Saturday. And I think the majority of fans won't be paying attention to the football. They'll be paying attention to games elsewhere to see who comes down with us, because it's effectively nailed on to be Huddersfield. And then one of, I think it's Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday, and Plymouth.
And possibly Blackburn, but Blackburn will be a stretch.
Blackburn, yeah, like I say, it'll be a stretch for them. So it's like one of definitely three, maybe four, to come down with us in Huddersfield, unless there's an absolutely insane goal swing for Huddersfield. But that's the question. I know we've touched on it in previous shows. Who would you like out of those three, maybe four, to come down properly? You know, who would be your preference?
It's got to be Plymouth. Just financially, I just think they're at a similar level to us. And I know they'll sell players for lots and lots of money, and so they'll have that in the bank. But I just can't be doing with Birmingham spending all the money on the face of the earth and Wednesday signing all our players again. Plymouth for me, Mick.
Yeah, 100%. I don't want Fowles down. I want them being looked after by Sheffield United for a couple of seasons now, or certainly for one till they come down next year. So yeah, Birmingham, like you say, are going to spend a lot of money. Whatever happens, I prefer him to spend it in the Championship rather than in League One. Blackburn, I don't care about one way or the other. I think Blackburn arguably might have been in quite a bit of trouble off the field for a number of seasons now.
They were owned by. They've got issues with Indian tax law, aren't they?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be too sorry to see them come down. And like I said, Plymouth probably are the more likely out of the Blackburn, out of those two, Blackburn and Plymouth. So Plymouth certainly not Birmingham, and certainly not Pigs. No,
I'll run through what I think are the permutations. If Birmingham lose or draw, they are down, unless Plymouth lose by four or more. If Birmingham win and Plymouth don't win, Plymouth will go down. If Birmingham win and Plymouth win and Sheffield Wednesday lose, Sheffield Wednesday will go down. If Birmingham, Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday all win and Blackburn lose, Blackburn will go down. So you're putting your money on Birmingham or Plymouth realistically. Plymouth are at home to Hull, who need to win to get into the playoffs. And I think Birmingham are at home to Norwich, who again need something to confirm their place in the playoff, I think. So it's important for everybody. I think Sheffield Wednesday have done enough.
They're away at Sunderland, aren't they?
Harry says, "How funny would it be if the Great Escape for Wednesday became the greatest bottle?" I'm with Mick. I don't want him down, but that would be absolutely hilarious, Harry.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. Yeah. We could do a podcast just based on that. Just for
podcast.
It's and giggles. Say again.
Emergency podcast.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that's worth some consideration. But having said that, I wouldn't want to be doing it on Saturday because it might not be a good idea. Saturday.
It's not good, is it?
What's that?
My flag's falling apart already.
That's not great.
No. Nick says, money-wise, Huddersfield and Plymouth aren't miles away from us, but you have to Birmingham will have the money. He says, I thought Plymouth were safe, to be fair, a while back, but they dropped back in. I thought they were as well. I thought Blackburn was safe when they beat Leeds as well, but technically they're not safe either.
Yeah.
I mean, we all thought QPR were gone at one point, didn't we?
Yeah. Beating us were massive for them. I know it seems a lot, but when they went 1-0 down to us at home, I suspect that was a big turning point for them to turn that round and win a game they should have won, but to turn it around was probably quite a big one. We'll talk more about the setup in a minute. Let's talk about the comments from Tony Stewart in the week, Mick. Probably in the week from a little while ago, where he suggested that he was falling out of love with the club so much he considered selling the club around January, February time. Do you believe him?
No, I don't believe him. I don't believe him at all. I think he'd consider selling the club anyway, if the right because he did qualify that by saying had the right offer come along.
Yeah,
and I think, to be fair to him, I think if the right offer came along now, he'd still do that. I get where he's coming from. I just don't think he's particularly articulated it very well. We've all fallen out of love with football this season. A lot of us, and it's not a surprise to me whatsoever that he has. Yeah. He's ploughed a load of money into it, and it's gone completely belly up. So I fully get that, but I don't think realistically there was any option or any chance of him selling up. Because the right offer wasn't there, wouldn't have been there. So,
yeah,
I think it's just trying to sort of placate the fans a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Are you in the same boat, or do you think there was a sort of semi? I can't see what would happen. I mean, he may have thought about it, but then he thought about it and gone, do you know what? I'm just going to do what I want to do and make the club into what I want it to be, and that's why he's still here.
I agree in the sense that I think he was falling out with the love of the club, because I think that goes for quite a lot of people this season.
Yeah.
But I think with the whole thing of considered selling the club, I mean, I agree with Mick. I think if, say, Killian Murphy and Tom Hardy came along and said, we'll give you 60 million to run Rotherham United, he wouldn't say no. So I think that's just a bit of a tack on to say, I considered selling, but I'm still here to take the club forward, which I'm sure he means as a reinforcement of his commitment to the club. But it comes across as a bit of a, But yeah, I agree with parts of his statement. That's what I'll say. Yeah,
that's fair. That is fair. That's ticked off as well. Is there anything different you want to see Saturday, mate? We're just so short on players. So short on players that it's likely to be unchanged, isn't it? The only question might be, would you bring Nombe back in?
Yeah, I probably would. Get a little bit of pace up front. I think the two big men up front is a bit old school now, isn't it? And you struggle at this level particularly to play that kind of game. But I think as far as team selection is concerned, Evans is pretty hamstrung, isn't he, into who we can pick from. I'm not that bothered. I desperately don't want him to mess about with the goalkeeping situation. But as far as the rest of it's concerned, whoever's fit, really.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I'm happy it started last week.
Yeah.
Let's go through the list of the players who played last week, Danny. I want to know who you think's last game it'll be. We all think it's going to be Victor's last game. The
Go
rest of the lineup.
Go through the list slowly, and I'll give you my answer.
Well, I'll go through position at a time. We'll go through defence. Defences. Well, we're starting with Seb Revan, Lee Peltier, Cam Humphries, Cohen Bramall. How many of those four do you think we'll see next season?
I would say probably Humphries, and maybe Bramall.
Yeah. Do you think Peltz will retire?
Possibly.
Or one last year in League One, which will hopefully be a successful year.
Depends on what Evans offers, I suppose. If he offers him another year contract, he might stay for another year. But if we release him and he wants to play football, I can see him dropping down to League Two, National League to keep going a little bit, or retire as well. But I don't think he's ready to retire.
Yeah. Through his coaching badges, there's always a chance they might stay on as player coach kind of thing next season. Drawing Domasters, Mick, Sean Morrison, you mentioned. Would you keep Sean Morrison for next season, Mick?
Depends on his injury situation, doesn't it? Because he's been injured for most of this. Why would you keep somebody on the wage bill who potentially could be out for a good part of the season? I would argue probably not. But you do need that experience back there, so it's a bit of a catch-22 in it. If Peltz doesn't stay, then we do need somebody back there with the experience. I don't know. We'll have to see. Probably not. Is my answer. Probably not.
Fair enough. Midfield, Mick. Again, which four of these do you think you'll see next season? Rathbone, Rinomhota, Appiah, and Ordoffin. Bear in mind, Rinomhota and Appiah are on loan. So left likely.
I mean, just talking about that there, I'd like to see Seb Revan back here.
100%, yeah.
And I'd like to keep Kioso and, as Michael Carnell's just put in the comments there, Tyler Blackett.
Yeah.
Depending on his injury. So I'd like Rinomhota to stay. That'd be great. Whether he can play on Saturday is a question.
Oh, sorry.
Whether Rinomhota can play on Saturday is a.
Oh God, he can't, can he?
So that might be a potential issue.
No. Yeah, I mean, you said potential issue. We've got no other midfielders.
Well, I'm going to take my boots then.
So in central midfield, we've got Hacks and Rathbone, and that's it.
Yeah, you might see that might be why Shane Ferguson's been training. You might see Fergie and Appiah play out there. So
two traditional wingers.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Interesting. Hacks, Rathbone, Mick signed the contract extensions. Would you put your house on them being here next year, or what do you think?
Well, there is the potential for him to be sold, isn't there? I would love to see Hacks here. I would love to see Rathbone here, but again, who knows? Who knows what he's got planned? Yeah.
No, I agree. Shelley says Andre Green. Yeah, the club have put a video. I haven't had a chance to watch it, to be honest with you. He's talking about his rehab and things like that. The gist I'm getting is he will probably be back for pre-season, which is brilliant. I think Andre Green will be an incredibly useful player in League One.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really, really good. So we mentioned Jamie Lindsay a minute ago. I've lost my thing. Harry says I've seen him that he's linked with Wrexham. If he goes to Wrexham, they'll need an interpreter for the Welcome to Wrexham show, won't they?
Yeah, they will. The
Scottish man there's ever been. But it is weird, Danny, that he's just kind of disappeared. He's not been talked about, not even asked about. Press. He's quite an interesting one, Jamie Lindsay, because in League One he'd be brilliant, and also he's a Steve Evans type player again.
Yeah, he is. I mean, maybe he's not being mentioned because something's already been sorted behind the scenes when his contract expires. He's not included because of an unspecified injury, which is an interesting one because you don't see that really. So I imagine there may have been some sort of prenup done before Evans came in as manager. He's seen that there's been a prenup done and basically said to him he's not going to play because he's, I don't know, not seen out his contract before sorting stuff out. Again, that's speculation, but you never know. But if Lindsay was to play another game, it would probably have to be the Cardiff one because, like you say, we're so short of midfielders again. So he might just be chucked in just to make up numbers potentially.
Yeah. I think you might be right. Harry asked about DeRose. Yeah, we could see DeRose. Steve has mentioned DeRose and Ayres, I think, were mentioned. And Douglas, I think, as well, were mentioned as well. Somebody asked on Twitter about JJ being available. I think the loan goes until the end of the season, which it would include. So I think it goes down the May, end of June. So I don't think Coyote would be available, even if he wasn't out for an unspecified reason, which we don't know what that is either. Strikers: Mick, Jordan Hugill, Tom Eaves are the two strikers that started last week. Again, what do you see with those? Would it be better to keep them because they're good players, especially at League One level, or would you prefer to see a clean slate? Start. You got number. We got number before everyone else. Whatever you think of him, but then it builds around number.
Yeah, I'd probably let them go personally. They're just not, unfortunately, for whatever reason, they've just not been able to cut the mustard, have they? And certainly, well, yeah, I'd be tempted to be looking to offload, particularly wages as they are as well.
Yeah, they'll be on fair wage. Even if they get a wage drop, they would still be on quite a lot of money for League One levels. Grant Hall. We're all in agreement. Grant Hall will probably go.
Yeah.
And Sariki, I think it's unlikely we'll see Sariki. He's not played at all, and he's not been trusted. Even with short players, he's barely been trusted, has he? Shelley says, given the situation, wouldn't Cardiff let Rinner play? It's not as if either club can go up or down. There's not an option. It's part of loans. It's part of agreements that you can't play against your parent club. They changed it a while ago now. So as far as I'm aware, they can't choose to do that.
I think one of the few countries you can do that is in Spain.
Yes, you can.
But under the FA, you can't do it, even if it's a dead game. It
came in, I remember this, when Newcastle loaned Loire to Portsmouth, and Loire scored two goals or a hat trick against them, and a rule was then brought in that can't happen. You can't play against your club. That was funny. Terry Femi asked about Derby, Washington. Do we get any money? Apparently, we do get some money. It's not as high. Paul Beer's report. It's not as high as mentioned. It's a 5-figure sum. So at the very, very most, it's £99,999. That's the most it could possibly be. We're using that information, which is a shame. But he got him off wage bill, didn't it? Matt Taylor didn't want him. Got him off wage bill. It could have been still sat here and not playing games like many other players we've got. To be fair, so there we go. Anything else before I get your predictions? Is there anything else we want to mention?
Don't think so. I think we've covered just about everything
in the world.
Major depth.
Yes. Thank you. I suppose thank you to Victor for leaving and getting pints on, because if Victor wouldn't have done that, we'd have nothing to talk about in this hour. Thank you to Victor for doing that. Victor saved something once again. So thank you very much, Victor. Mick, for the most pointless game in the history of modern football, what is the score prediction going to be Saturday afternoon?
0-0.
Yes. Brilliant.
0-0.
Okay. It's got it written all over it. Danny?
4-4.
4-4, yeah. Danny, what do you reckon?
You know what? Last game of the season, I'm going to say 1-0, just for a laugh. 1-0 to Rotherham.
But you're going to go silly then, because that's where I'm going. I'm going to go silly. Last game of the season, two teams we often to play for. Let's go gung ho, and I'm going to say 5-2 to Cardiff.
Good grief.
And if Steve Evans really wants to get on Rotherham United fans' good side, you put Victor up top for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you really, really want to get on fans, let's do a David James and stick Victor up top. And if we get a penalty, 100% give it to Victor Johansson. 100%.
Yeah.
The game's pointless for us. The game's pointless for Cardiff. Let's have some fun. Let's just go out and have a bit of a at it.
What we should do is whatever starting striker we've got, take them off on 70 minutes or so, bring on Dylan Phillips or Nat Ford or whoever, and like you say, might put Victor up top, but he still gets to wear his goalkeeper shirt just for laugh.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that. You got to wear an outfield shirt.
Get one printed quickly.
Get one printed. I think you'll be able to do that quite easily. Referee is Andy Davies. He refereed the Sheffield Wednesday game and another game pre-Christmas that I can't remember who it was pre-Christmas. But it was rubbish against Sheffield Wednesday.
Is he the one that refereed the game at Swillsborough?
Yeah.
Oh my word!
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I actually agree with your 5-2 prediction, Matt.
Yeah. You know, just give us some entertainment. That's all we're asking for. Last game of the season. Let's have a bit of fun. Because
the only thing that can sort of throw a bit of a spanner in the works is that Cardiff do actually have something to play for, don't they? Because they're on the same points as Bristol City. So to go above them, they get more prize money. They get more.
Well, prize money apparently doesn't matter. You don't get prize money in Championship for where you finish, apparently.
Oh, right, okay.
That's just pride they're playing for. And we've been playing for that.
That's fine.
Chris Page thinks we're 0-0 ball festies with you. Nick thinks 2-1 to the Millers. Richard says 1-0 to the Millers and Victor. He says Victor 90th minute penalty. Do you think it means that Victor's going to score the penalty or Victor's going to save a penalty? Let us know, Richard, which one it is. I'm happy with either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Harry says 4-0 to the Millers. Can't wait for us to turn up when we need it the most. Yeah. John Mann says 5-0 to the Millers. Well, it says 5-0, doesn't say to the Millers. I'm going to assume it is. Rich says 2-1 to the Millers. 2-1 to the Millers. Powerman says 0-1 to Cardiff, then a downport and game called off. The only fair way to end the season, if you ask me.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
Shelley says biggest win this season, the best performance, as they say the best to the last. Richard says Victor is to score. So 90th, so 0-0. Penalty to Rotherham United 90th minute, and we send Victor Johansson to take it. All for it. Absolutely here for that. Michael kind of wants to finish us off and say, I would like to say thank you to all on the podcast. It's been brilliant watching you all and keep it going. And he says 3-3. I'd take that. I would absolutely take that. Let's have some fun. Last shout, boys. Anything else?
Has anyone checked the weather for Saturday?
Yeah, it's not going to rain Saturday.
It's going to be dry. So we don't need to bring us umbrellas. Remember, if you haven't got a Sweden flag or whatever else, yellow paint, spray your face, spray your hair. Let's give Victor this yellow what?
Yellow ball to play with.
We could play with yellow ball. Yeah, we'll put pretend snow on the pitch and play with yellow ball as well. Let's give Victor the send off. I know this has been a terrible season, an awful season, and you will probably feel like many of these players don't deserve you to stay around after the game to appreciate them. But Victor deserves for you to hang around after the game for 10 minutes to at least show him how much it means. So for that reason, I would just say hang around, give Victor the applause that he needs. If you want to boo the rest of them, I don't know, it's your life, do whatever you want to do. But yeah, I think Victor deserves us all to hang around for a little bit. And if you see us in the Cutlers on Saturday, give us a wave. Don't steal my flag, but you give us a wave. And we will all see you there. Thank you all for being with us. Harry Hammer says, all wearing yellow and blue, eh? Should be.
Hopefully.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you all for being with us. We'll be back on Sunday. It's not the end of the season for us as a show. We'll be back on Sunday to review the most pointless game in the history of Rotherham United. And then next week, not only will there be go through the retain list, we're going to start by going through our pre-season predictions. They are awful. We're going to start on Thursday for that. We're going to get everybody back on for Thursday, some for Thursday, some for Sunday. And look at how terrible we are at guessing things. And we all know Mickey's already with 0.1.
Well, yeah. It's hardly a surprise, that is it?
No, but if you get this right on Saturday, that'll boost you 0.02 into something.
Yeah, 0.03. Amazing, unbelievable screens.
You know, it's Tom that I feel sorry for because he never got his forfeit for doing three wins in a row.
Oh, he is. He says he's put that money aside, so that will be going into the charity at some point in the Rotherham Hospice.
Oh,
so yes, that we will make sure Tom does that because he knows. Shall I ask about an end of season quiz? we'll do something. So our plan is the end of season. We're going to review our pre-season previews. We're going to do a kind of end of season awards. Kind of. Victor wins that one. Victor wins that one. Yeah, we'll do some stuff. Still need to get through the end of the May, and then the Euros start. We're going to keep doing we're going to do like we did in the World Cup. We're going to do Euros episodes again to keep us entertained. While I was going to say the monotony of non-Rotherham United, but just enjoy there being no Rotherham United for a couple of months. They can't ruin your Saturday afternoon after Saturday, can they? So just enjoy that for a few months. Thank you, Mick. It's been fun as always.
Well, you said that.
It's been summer. And Danny, we can't see you, but we've had fun anyway. So thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, it's been great, lads. On to the last game of the season for Sweden against Cardiff.
Sweden against Cardiff, absolutely. Thank you all for being with us on our final preview show of the season. We'll see you all Sunday for the final proper show of the season. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Duffy, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favor, drop me off